Detective Ray Keller had been with the Ridgeway Police Department for over 20 years. Known for his gruff demeanor and unapologetic attitude, Keller wore his authority like a badge of superiority. He prided himself on being a no-nonsense officer, but his record showed a pattern of discriminatory behavior. Complaints had piled up over the years, but Keller always seemed to dodge real accountability. On a cloudy Monday morning, Keller stood outside the Ridgeway courthouse. He leaned against his cruiser, sipping coffee and chatting with Officer Mendez, his rookie partner. "Another day of dealing with these people," Keller muttered, eyes scanning the diverse crowd heading into the courthouse. His tone carried a hint of disdain. Mendez frowned but said nothing, unsure how to respond to Keller's habitual remarks. As they talked, an older black woman approached the courthouse entrance. Dressed in a sharp navy blue suit, she exuded an air of authority. Her gray-streaked hair was impeccably styled, and she carried a briefcase with the seal of the Attorney General's office embossed on it. Keller noticed her and smirked. "Look at that," he said. "Must think she owns the place." The woman walked past them, her heels clicking on the pavement. As she reached the steps, Keller called out, "Ma'am, hold up. You lost or something?" She stopped and turned, her eyes sharp and confident. "Excuse me. You heading in there? You got business at the courthouse?" Keller's tone was condescending. "I do," she replied calmly. "And who might you be?" "Detective Ray Keller, Ridgeway PD, just making sure everything's in order." "Well, Detective Keller," she said, her voice steady, "I assure you everything is in order." Keller wasn't satisfied. "I didn't catch your name." She raised an eyebrow. "You didn't ask for it." By now, a small crowd had begun to gather, sensing tension. Mendez shifted uncomfortably, whispering, "Detective, maybe we should—" Keller waved him off. "I'm just doing my job, Mendez." The woman sighed and reached into her briefcase, pulling out an ID card. She held it up for Keller to see. "Loretta Jacobs, Attorney General of the United States." For a moment, Keller was speechless. The title hit him like a brick. The murmurs from the crowd grew louder. "You're the Attorney General?" Keller asked, his voice faltering. "Yes," she said, "and I don't appreciate being stopped and questioned without cause." Keller tried to regain his composure. "Well, I didn't know who you were." Jacobs tilted her head. "And if I weren't the Attorney General, would your tone have been any different?" Keller stammered, but Jacobs didn't wait for an answer. She stepped closer, lowering her voice so only he could hear. "You wear that badge to serve and protect, not to intimidate and demean. I've seen officers like you before, and I'm telling you now, your time of skating by is over." She turned on her heel and walked into the courthouse, leaving Keller standing red-faced and silent. Mendez avoided eye contact, knowing this would not end well for his partner. The incident quickly went viral. Someone in the crowd had recorded the exchange, and within hours, it was all over social media. Calls for Keller's suspension flooded the Ridgeway Police Department. Chief Morales, who had long ignored complaints about Keller, was now under intense pressure to act. Jacobs, for her part, released a statement the next day. "This is not just about me. It's about every person who has ever been treated unfairly by those entrusted with power. Accountability is non-negotiable." Under public scrutiny, an internal investigation was launched. Keller was placed on administrative leave. During the investigation, past complaints against him were reopened. Mendez, meanwhile, reflected deeply on his role. Inspired by Jacobs's courage, he began attending community meetings and advocating for reform within the department. As for Keller, he faced disciplinary action and mandatory bias training. While the path to redemption would be long, the incident marked a turning point for the Ridgeway Police Department, sparking meaningful dialogue about systemic issues and the responsibility of those in uniform. Attorney General Loretta Jacobs continued to champion justice and equality. Her encounter with Keller became a symbol of the ongoing struggle for accountability in law enforcement. And for Ridgeway, it was a reminder that respect is not just a courtesy, but a duty, and that no one, not even the most powerful, is above the law.